Hey, what's up everybody? This is Osterberg501 and today I want to go over some more data mined information from Temporal and have a discussion on a few topics that are being heavily discussed by the Battlefield 2042 community. So the first thing I want to go over is the armor discussion currently going on in the community, and this is spurred on by the Irish specialist having their passive ability be that they get additional armor as a baseline, and then added onto that a lot of the leaked gameplay that's being constantly uploaded to YouTube, which I will definitely not be showing, is also showing that every specialist has an armor slot, just like Irish does. So it seems that every specialist will in some way be able to obtain armor, whether that be really hard or a more consistent thing. And a lot of people have been saying there's a possibility that this will make Irish an incredibly meta character and that you'll just go into games and everyone will be playing Irish because he has additional armor and can take more damage. And we're not exactly certain how armor is implemented into the game, if it's just going to be a damage reduction to your entire body, if it's just going to be additional health, if it's going to be a damage reduction to a specific body part, like maybe it's essentially just a vest, so maybe you take less damage in the vest, or if it's just going to be additional health to a specific body part like the vest. So depending on which way they implement it, it could be stronger than others. And in my personal opinion, with how Battlefield games are in general, and by that I mean they're usually not seen as competitive as something like a battle royale, an arena shooter, or even general COD multiplayer, I don't think it's the biggest of issues in any way they implement it. Now clearly, if it's a bit too strong, they can end up just nerfing it a little bit, which would indirectly nerf Irish as well. But I do think if they strike that right balance with it giving you a slight edge if you go out and say get armor with whatever specialist you're using, I do think that adds a little bit of flavor into the gameplay, and it adds a little bit of unknown, so you're not exactly sure on all of the information possible when going into a fight. Now depending on how the hazard zone ends up coming out and how it plays into that, it could be an issue there, but I'm fairly certain that hazard zone will probably have its own armoring system, but that won't be the exact same as the rest of the multiplayer in Battlefield. Now next up, I wanted to go over a few more additions to data mined information from Temporal on Twitter, and I will have his Twitter linked in the description and the pinned comment, so if you want to go check out all of his data mined information, you can go ahead and do that. So the first thing we're going over is the Eba Wildcat, and the Eba Wildcat is based on the Jaguar EBRC and offers a variety of loadout options according to the files: cannons and missiles, EMPs, grenade launchers, mortars, smokes, and spotting. It features 4 seats, 1 driver, 2 gunners, and 1 spotter. And you will be able to see what this is based off of in the video, but essentially this is a version of a light armored tank. Think something like a Bradley, just with some additional capabilities and a little bit different options of what a Bradley would have. So for the different customization options for this tank, in the primary seat you have a 40mm cannon, a 57mm cannon, or a anti-air double cannon, and that is specifically for the primary weapon of this vehicle. Now at secondary, you have the options of a anti-air missile or a anti-tank missile. Then for some of the ability options, you have a detection jammer, a smoke launcher, a smoke discharger, a thermal smoke, and a system repair. So these are kind of all the different utility options to smoke off areas, smoke off yourself, system repair, a lot of stuff we've seen in other Battlefield games. And a lot of it is stuff we'd fully expect to have with most vehicles, or at least tanks. Then for the first gunner seat, you have the options of a 40mm grenade launcher, bounce grenades, an EMP, flak, which I'm assuming is a flak gun, mortars, rockets, or a shotgun. So you actually have a ton of different options for the first gunner seat, and it's looking like how this is data mined that every seat is going to be customized separately, which is also pretty interesting. And I'm not sure how many other Battlefield games off the top of my head went about customization like that, or if maybe this is just data mined in a different way and it will be very similar to the other Battlefields. Then for the gunner seat 2, you have the options of a 40mm grenade launcher, a missile barrage, which seems pretty strong, a heavy machine gun, or a minigun. And this is pretty cool. This vehicle definitely seems like it has some pretty heavy weaponry options. Then for passenger, you have a spotting and a spotting pulse. So a ton of different options, and I'm liking a lot what I'm seeing. It's seeming like they're giving us a lot of the things we would expect from other Battlefield games, with some additional options thrown in there and possibly some changes to how you go about customizing in terms of having every different seat have its own specific customization options. Now, the second data mine thing I want to go over is one of the weapons in Battlefield with all of its different customization options. Now, this is labeled as a M5A3 in Battlefield, which is its Battlefield naming, and I'm not sure exactly what this is, but if I'm not mistaken, the picture on Temporal's Twitter that goes along with this, I think shows a SIG 716, which is a 7.62x5.1 rifle. So I'm not exactly certain if this weapon is going to be that, or if it's just going to be another one of the rifles in the game, but I'm assuming it's going to be this because why else would you have this specific picture tied to it? So with this weapon, you have 3 barrels, short, medium, and long. You have 3 muzzle brakes or compensators. You have 3 different suppressors, 4 different grips, 4 different ammo options and magazines, and 13 different scopes. Then on top of that, there's a bipod, laser sight, a weapon light, a grenade launcher, and the grenade launcher has high explosive, incendiary, and smoke rounds for it. So we don't have all the specifics of all the different attachments for the weapon, but we're getting a good idea of all the different options you're going to have for weapons, and I really do hope that all of the weapons have really extensive customization, and it's seeming like it's going back to all the attachments for the weapon actually affecting how the weapon performs. And I'm not exactly certain how this is going to tie in with the plus system, which if you don't know what that is, when you're actually in-game playing, you can bring up a menu with your weapon and it brings up a cross, and on all 4 of the legs of that cross, you'll be able to change attachments directly in-game while you're playing, switch up your weapon, and keep on playing without having to respawn or go into some other menu. And I'm assuming you're probably just going to end up customizing what goes in to that plus system for every specific weapon, and then a bunch of the attachments won't be able to be applied at the same time to a weapon. Like you wouldn't be able to apply different muzzle brakes at the same time or things of that nature. And the weapon customization is actually one of the things I'm really excited for in this Battlefield, because coming from, say, Battlefield 5 and going back to the attachments completely, changing how the weapon operates, the stats, all that type of stuff is so much better than the system that Battlefield 5 had. And I hope they keep going more and more down this road of having a lot of customization options, having the plus system so you can change some of the attachments to your weapons directly in game, and then also having the different ammo types and caliber conversions for these weapons. So I think there's going to be a ton of customization for weapons, and you'll be able to make one single weapon feel completely different with the customizations you put on it and perform in completely different ways. So subscribe if you want to see more Battlefield 2042 or other FPS videos. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a comment down below what you guys think about all of the information I went over in this video, and thanks for watching.